Hi, this is Wishop. This is a card reading that kind of goes from the new moon that we just had, the new moon in Aries, and we'll also deal with the, full moon in Aries. Then we're going to go to the new moon in Scorpio. I will do a reading for that at the end of the month. But this reading, which I'm doing sort of for the full moon in Aries, is kind of really for the next 3 months. That's sort of how I conceived it. What's happening is that I am probably going to close this channel, not before the next new moon, but there is another kind of thing that I'm going to be launching or starting up in November, December. So that's going to have a new name, a new identity. It's going to be a different sort of offering. Because these general videos that I do, they're just a little bit too general, or they really fit people who have natural sympathies with me, meaning you probably have an astrology which is close to mine. You might have a life experience which is close to mine. If we compared notes, we would probably find that we have some similar aspects, maybe age or something about our cultural backgrounds. So what happens is when you're doing a general reading, you tend to hit people who already are generally on your wavelength a bit. And that's great, that's fine. And I have enjoyed doing it. It's been wonderful. I've done hundreds of these videos, and I wouldn't have if I didn't really like it. And then you also have the opportunity to do personal readings for people. And when you do that, you can be so much more specific. And you can also get beyond your own sort of sympathies into something that's very particular for another person. But it's hard to do that without a target, meaning without their question or their interest as a target point. You tend to read things which are relevant for you, and then if it happens to be relevant for other people, then great. So what I'm going to do is I will end up closing this channel, and I will probably start another one, but I will also be offering a newsletter probably to start, which will have freebies. It won't just have text. It may have private videos in it as well. It's going to be a different sort of offering. So Wishop will go away and the new thing will come to be. And if you're interested in that, which will be a lot more customizable, which is what I'd like to do, it'll be a lot more self-selecting, and it will allow people to create their own approaches. And I can tell you it'll specifically be in the area of luck. That's kind of my area in terms of development, identifying the advantageous currents and trying to take them. Changing those things which you can tweak. So even if you can't keep the storm from coming in, you can enhance your own umbrella and the protection, you could say, or the opportunities for yourself and people around you. So anyway, if you're interested in getting on that mailing list, I'm probably not going to be sending anything out for a couple months. And, you know, you're not required, of course, but if you do get on that mailing list, I'm not going to be mentioning this channel. This channel kind of goes by the wayside, and that's something all new. So if you come along, you'll be part of my secret in crowd who know where this came from. But anyway, here will be an address, aisle 13 at protonmail.com. You can join the mailing list. You'll be alerted to future events and options. I will announce this one more time in my new moon reading at the end of the month, and then Wishop will probably go away after that. So, and it'll be joyous. It's not sad, and I'm not sad. It's just, I think I've developed enough something else that will be more specific, hopefully more useful to people, and will be for a slightly different self-selecting audience and people who really want to get into just get into it, you know, roll up their sleeves and get into understanding their own relationships to luck and their own development with it. So that's my thing. Anyway, let's talk about this reading, which goes for the next 3 months potentially, and I will do the new moon reading at the end. I wanted to do a good old-fashioned 9-card Lenormand reading. The other thing I did with it was, rather than take a set series of house placements like you might do, I randomly selected these Lenormand cards. These are Pixies, Astounding Lenormand, which are great, Adam Zabrowski, and then I laid these out, and then I laid Alexander Musrick's Retro Lenormand, which I've used a lot, in the houses. So this is Stork in the house of the crossroads, Woman in the house of the anchor, Man in the house of the tower, Cat in the house of the lady. Cat is one of Alexander Musrick's bonus cards, so I'll talk about that. Heart in the house of the heart. Oh, how about that? Mice in the house of the mountain. House in the house of the gentleman. Stars in the house of the clouds. Tree in the house of the clover. So I'll go through all of these individually and we'll talk about what they mean. Okay, so I know that's a lot of background, but frankly, the way I'm going to read this, it'll just help. So this is your inner world. Stork at the crossroads. Stork is a very feminine card. Here we have the Queen of Hearts. It is a card of a strong mother figure. It's also a card of migration, and autumn, of course, is a time of migration. It's a card of new beginnings, usually well favored. The Crossroads is another Queen card. So here we have the Crossroads, also called the Way, the Path. It is another card of another red queen. We think of red cards in playing card cartomancy as being quite positive. So we have this positive change. And it is a change that would be related somewhat to a woman in your life, or if you are a woman, this could be a change that you are considering. But it's a change that you want to be good. So maybe it is a change with your children. Maybe your children are moving out, or maybe you're considering a move. There is a decision point here, something new that is under consideration. Of course, with what I described to you, this applies to me, but then I would expect this reading to apply to me, but also to apply to other people who have those kind of sympathies. So here we are at a decision point. The Crossroads is also typically the card of the oracle, the card of the diviner, meaning go this way, go that way. What can you see in the road ahead? Here we've got some clouds sort of on the horizon. Well, I shouldn't say clouds, it's clear sky, but we have these mountains, these snow-capped mountains on the horizon. So we can't see everything that we're walking into. But the idea is that this is a card that also has to do with divining your future or forecasting your future, navigation, a choice of direction. Okay, so here we have a woman. So this probably looks like a reading about a woman. I mean, I'm just saying. And we have the lady here. So we have all these feminine cards. We also have men in the picture too. So here's a woman, and she's in the house of the anchor, which means she has been staying in probably a fairly secure position to this point. She's been in a position which is, it could be a job, because it's the anchor. Anchor is often a job card, but it's a position of stability. And again, we see we've got these mountains here. We've got the mountain and the sea and the beach. So we have this idea of the different sort of realms of life. And she has been staying safe. You could say playing it safe, but you could also say that she has been protected, like in a little protected cove. You know, I think about this because the stork is also a water bird. You have the idea that she's been, and we've got this woman in the bathing suit, and women, the divine feminine, the sacred feminine too, is also tends to be tied to water. And see, again, we have this, you know, this mountain and this water image, and we have the idea of Venus who rises from the waves, and often in charge of rivers and oceans are goddesses. So here we have her in her safe harbor, and this has probably been a good place for her. Without doubt, it's been a good place. And now the question is, does she dare to leave the safety of her harbor for something new? I don't know, it's a good question. So here, when we look, this is sort of like the present kind of foundational issues and maybe what's on your mind. And then here, we can think of it as sort of the past moving to the present. So underlying the woman's safety is probably a man who is a part of an institution, or a man who's a part of something that is a large organization, would be another reasons for the Tower. So the idea could be that part of the reason why she has stayed in this safe position is because there is a man in her life related to a large organization. This could also be because we have this stork, which is this motherly energy. This could be a son in an institution of various kinds. I mean, this can be a prison. Some people think of this as a hospital. This can be a school system. You know, this is a formal organization that has rules. So it could be something governmentally related, but there is a man. Now, oftentimes we'd expect to see this a child if it's a son, but there could be a man who could be a partner or a family member who is related to this institution. And the Tower tends to be an institution of somewhat limitation, right? So this limitation of this person is also somewhat keeping her anchored in place, you could say. So whatever connection this man has to her in her very intimate world, or maybe in her family, it could be that she's caregiving, you know, so it could be that she is caregiving for a father, for example, and there are limitations because he's hospitalized, or maybe he's in a nursing home, something like that. And that has been a limitation that has kept her in one place. And it doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. You know, she could have been doing this in a great sense of trying to be a caregiver. You know, stork is a caregiver. She's a fierce mother. This is another reason why I think about issues of family, you know, those nearest and dearest, because the stork was seen in ancient times, I think the Egyptians saw her this way, as basically a very devoted mother. So this idea that someone in your family, or that you think of as family, has had some limitation which is related probably to a large organization or large institution, and that has kept you in one place. But that limitation seems to be lessening. Now, this is in the past or the near past. So it could be that this person is no longer attached to the institution, or perhaps there's been some change, which, see, I like to see mice in the house of the mountain, because a lot of times we see mountain as an obstacle, and we've seen mountains all through these cards. Mountains can be obstacles. They can also be mighty enemies. But here we have the mice, and these little mice over the course of time are nibbling away, right? If you've got one mouse, you've got two mice, then you've got more mice. And there are actually traditions that think of mice or rats as good luck, as a bag of rats, because you're so rich you can afford to give up a lot of grain to these mice and rats and not even notice. That's how rich you are. But the idea is mice nibble away at things. So whatever this obstacle is to her movement, it looks like it's been lessened in some way. So it could be that the institution has changed or the needs of this person has changed. There's some loosening, there's some nibbling away of these ties, and that has produced an opportunity for change. Now, what's really interesting here, connected to this, is we have cat in the house of the lady. So the underlying, so we have the woman, she shows up twice. The underlying circumstance is the woman would like to be more independent. The cat is a card of independence. Even though we've got all these black cats under the moon, the cat is a sign of flexibility and of boundaries. Like, you think of the cat does what the cat wants. You can't make the cat do what the cat doesn't want to do. They're just not like that. This is how this cat is. And the idea too, when you think about maybe ancient Egyptian mythology and you think about goddesses like Bast or Sekhmet, they're always of strong homes. They're always strong protectors, and they're always the type that you don't want to mess with. This lady, it seems to me, is ready for a level of independence which was not possible before, for whatever reason. And somehow the limitations are being nibbled away, and now there is a chance for this independence. And so this stork, this woman, probably a woman, or someone who identifies themselves as a caregiver in the situation they're in. So it could be, because I only have the woman and man, it could be that we're dealing with, two men, or the parent could be a mother and this could be a son. This is a caregiving figure. So when I'm talking about the lady in this situation, just think of it, this would be the maternal or caregiving figure. So this is going to be the person probably who's been maintaining the stability of the homestead. That would be another idea. So you could be a single father, and this could apply to you because you're the one maintaining the homestead. So then this man could be, a parent. It could even be a child, because I have a limited number of people in the deck. So just try to sort of work within your own situation to see how it applies. So what's interesting here is we have the gentleman. So we have the man shows up again. Here we've got lady, here we've got men. And we have the house. In the house, we would say, of the gentleman, in the position of the gentleman. So what this means is that this person is very concerned about the stability of the gentleman. And actually in this card of the house, it's actually like the little Dutch boy, like a little painter. So this could also mean a son. That's kind of how I'm thinking of it. This is, I believe it's the King of Hearts. Yeah, it's the King of Hearts. So it's someone with whom you're connected. Let me see if I can get this in focus for you. Focus, focus. Oops. Hope you can see that. There we go. So it's probably someone with whom you have a love relationship, a loving or blood relationship. So again, I have this sort of notion that somebody who's in your very inner circle is, you're looking at the stability of the living situation for them. Oh, now I'm out of focus again. Sorry about that. Anyway, you're looking at the stability of this living situation, and you are thinking, I need to make sure that if I make a change, it's going to be good for them. It's going to be an upgrade. Like I look at him painting the house, and house is usually a card of security, of intimacy, of comfort. Again, like you can think of like your favorite chair, your favorite couch, your cozy bed in your house. The idea that this person wants to make a change, but wants to make sure it's going to be good for the other person in the equation, whoever this person is, and yet wants a change. And here we have heart in the house of the heart. So this is so strong. And this is a Jack of Hearts. You can see here, and you can also see here, it's a Jack of Hearts. It's that I believe if you follow your heart, or if this person follows their heart, you're going to have two hearts in agreement. And because this is the Jack of Hearts, I think it's going to work well for this person in the situation if you follow your heart. You will have happiness in the house of the heart. And I think we can say, two hearts will beat as one. Two hearts will be on the same page. So what does that do here? Well, we've got tree in the house of luck. So luck or clover is usually little luck. It's a stroke of luck. It's a happy card, but it's also like it's a card that can mean small things. But here we have a tree, and a tree is huge and long-lasting and long-standing and very healthy. So where we have tree in the house of clover, the way I see it, is we have this long-standing, deep-rooted, potentially enduring, healthy, new set of roots that start from something that looks quite small. The idea that every oak tree was once a little acorn. I feel like there's a little stroke of luck that builds something quite long, quite healthy, quite enduring, and something that's going to be a source of great happiness for everyone involved. But, I'm saying but, the deal is, here's the clouds in sort of what's on your mind, and here are the stars. So the stars often relate to things like divine guidance, hopes, aspirations, the idea that you're sort of following a different kind of compass which can be connected to the crossroads again too. So the clouds is something unknown, and because it's unknown, it can make us nervous. We can worry about it. The clouds have the King of Clubs associated with them, so there can be the idea that situations are brewing, powerful situations are brewing, and we just don't know what they're going to be like. We can worry about them. And because it's in this sort of upper realm, since the clouds are facing this way, we're worried that we're going from blue skies, we were involved in something safe, we're going to leave this nice, safe harbor, and we're going to something dark and unknown. And the card here is stars in the house of the clouds. That even in the clouds, your guiding stars will shine through. You have to follow your internal guidance, even through the clouds. And this may require, on the part of this other person in the woman or the caregiver's life, to show trust. Because we've got the man in the house of the tower, then the stork in the house of the crossroads. So here's a change. Here's making a choice for a change, and it's going to require some faith. Stars in the house of the clouds. Faith in the face of the unknown. So she, I believe, can see how this little start from, from small things, mama, big things one day come. That old song, I think it's Dave Mason maybe? She can see how this small change, this small lucky revision is going to lead to something long-standing and great. But for this other person, for whom she dearly wishes an upgrade of some sort, it's going to require some faith. But also, it looks like the love, the mutual affection that is felt between these people is going to be a source of progress forward, because she is looking to leave this obstacle. She's looking to nibble away this mountain, to get rid of this obstacle, to whittle it down to size, and to move in the direction of her desires and her deepest wishes. And it looks like if this person can see clear to trust in that, she may have a better idea going forward. Like, she may have a better idea, because here we have the woman knighted to the House of the Stars. So she already can see the path, but it may be hard to explain it to anybody else what this path is. And this path, if we knight it this way, is the path of desire, the path of the heart, the path of the deepest convictions. And really, too, if I look at this independent spirit, the cat in the house of the lady again, I see, again, we knight to the stars. So when I go this way from the independence, it's this sense of independence, this new sense of having choices in front of her to make that are helping to whittle away the sense of being confined and the sense of obstacles. And it may be that she has to start the parade and get other people to go along with her. It is possible. But the outcome looks very bright if you follow the stars and follow your heart. The outcome looks like it is something which is lasting. It may look like, to other people who aren't there on the same page with you yet, like it's a flash in the pan, but it's actually the start of something big and great and beautiful. So I hope this reading was sympathetic for you. And until the next reading, which may actually be the last wish-up reading, rock on with your bad selves.